Our speaker today, Marina Machado, is an award-winning pianist with an impressive international performance history who has studied with world-renowned musicians and performed across Europe and the United States, including Boca Raton, Florida. Today, she not only enriches our services with her musical talent, but guides our fellowship's musical direction as our music director. Marina?
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Music has always been more than sound. It's a language of the soul, a bridge between our inner worlds and the collective human experience. Today, we will journey through beloved carols, not as nostalgic tunes, but as living prayers that speak to the heart of Unitarian Universalism. These carols are not just historical artifacts, but living teachings. Each note, it's a brass stroke painting a broader picture of hope, resilience, and transformative possibility. Think about how a song can touch us. It can make us feel less alone. It can help us understand something about ourselves or the world that we couldn't quite put into words before. That is the magic of music, especially these carols that have survived for generations. Reverend Edmund Sears was a Unitarian minister from Massachusetts. When he wrote "It Came Upon the Midnight Clear" in 1849, he was doing far more than composing a holiday melody. Instead of just telling the usual Christmas story, he was speaking directly to the deep divisions in his country. The Civil War was coming, and Sears wanted to remind people that peace is something we have to work at. It is not a passive state, but an active, intentional practice of radical empathy and understanding. Consider for a minute the world Sears was living in. A country torn apart by disagreements about slavery, about states' rights, about the very meaning of human dignity. While some of the specific challenges have evolved, our world today isn't so different. We are still struggling to understand each other, to bridge big divides. Think about what peace really means. It is not just about being quiet or avoiding arguments. Real peace means truly listening to each other, especially to people who are different from us. It means working hard to understand someone else's experience. It's about seeing the humanity in everyone, even those we might disagree with. It's about seeing the humanity in everyone, even those we might disagree with. In our world today, with so many arguments and misunderstandings, this message is more important than ever. Peace isn't something that just happens. It's something that we choose, day by day, conversation by conversation. We build it by being kind, by trying to understand each other, by seeing beyond our own limited perspectives. Let's now hear our chalice choir sing the first verse of "It Came Upon the Midnight Clear." And as they sing, think about that message of peace that Sears was hoping for. Hearing it that way doesn't even feel more powerful. Knowing the context makes it more than just a lovely melody. It becomes a call for peace in our own lives and in the world around us. I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day is based on a poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, who, besides being a well-known American poet, was also a Unitarian. He wrote this carol in 1863 during an incredibly difficult time in his life. Imagine losing your wife in a terrible accident. Imagine your son badly wounded in a war that was tearing the country apart. The entire nation was falling apart around him. This is the original poem. I heard the bells on Christmas Day, their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat, of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And thought how, as the day had come, the belfries of all Christendom had rolled along the unbroken song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Till ringing, singing on its way, the world revolved from night to day. A voice, a chime, a chant sublime of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then from each black, accursed mouth, the cannon thundered in the south, and with the sound, the carols drowned of peace on earth, goodwill to men. It was as if an earthquake rent the hearthstones of a continent and made forlorn the households born of peace on earth, goodwill to men. And in despair, I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. When he wrote, and in despair I bowed my head, there is no peace on earth, I said, he was expressing a feeling we all know. That moment when everything seems impossible. We've all had times when the world feels too heavy, when hope seems like a distant memory. But here's the amazing part. The bells keep ringing. This is what hope really looks like. It's not about pretending everything's okay. It's about continuing to believe in goodness, even when things look dark. Hope is choosing to keep going, to keep caring, to keep working for something better. This means not giving up when things get tough. It means believing that we can make a difference, even when change seems slow. Our job is to be hope makers, to keep working for justice, for kindness, for understanding, even when the path is difficult. The children's choir will now sing 2 verses for us, starting with, and in despair, I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said. And notice how it moves from sadness to that glimmer of hope we all need sometimes. into it, you can almost feel Longfellow's pain turning into hope. A hope that's essentially meaningful when life feels heavy. He reminds us that we can find the strength to believe in goodness, even when times are tough. This hymn will be our closing hymn today, and I invite you all to remember this feeling when we sing together at the end of the service. Our next song, Lydia Maria Child's Over the River and Through the Woods, written in 1844, might sound like a simple story about traveling to visit family, but Child was much more than just a songwriter. She was a fierce fighter against slavery, an advocate for women's rights, someone who believed in creating a more just world, and of course, a Unitarian. Traditionally sung at Thanksgiving, but often included in holiday singing, her song is actually a powerful statement about something profound. The strength we find in being together. In a world that can feel scary and divided, joy is not a waste of time. It is how we survive. When we laugh together, when we share warmth, when we create moments of happiness, we are doing something revolutionary. We're showing that connection matters more than anything that tries to separate us. Joy is an act of resistance against loneliness, against despair. It says, we are here, we matter, we can still find happiness. The Chalice Choir will now sing Over the River and Through the Woods. The words will appear on the screen so you can follow them. And let this be a celebration of the joy we create together as friends, as family, as community. Thank you for joining us in the joy and the fun. This joyful song, so simple, speaks to something so essential: the strength we find in community. When we sing together, when we laugh together, we remind each other that joy is not just possible, it is our birthright. Even the last stop in our journey, a playful song like Jingle Bells, has something to teach us. Written by James Lord Pierpont in 1850, This carol was originally titled One Horse Open Sleigh and intended for Thanksgiving. Pierpont was the song of a Unitarian minister and grew up in a community steeped in Unitarian values. It reminds us that spirituality isn't always serious. Sometimes it's about enjoying life, about finding happiness even when things are difficult. Faith calls us to be fully human, to understand that serious work and joy can exist together. Laughing, playing, enjoying moments of lightness. These are not small things. They are ways of staying strong, of reminding ourselves that life is beautiful and worth celebrating. The Chalice Choir will perform Jingle Bells during the offertory. I invite you to let this joyful song lift your spirits just as it has for generations. And feel free to join us singing as well. These carols are invitations, not to look backward, but to keep moving forward. They ask us important questions. How can we create more peace today? Where can we bring hope? How can we turn our joy into a way of making the world better? Unitarian Universalism doesn't just accept all traditions. It looks at them, understands them, and uses them to help us grow. The work is never finished. We are still writing the song of human compassion, one moment at a time. Faith is a living, breathing practice of hope. It asks us to be brave, to be kind, to be willing to see the sacred in each other and in ourselves. May these melodies stay with you. May they remind you that we are all connected. May they inspire you to keep singing, not just with your voice, but with your entire being. Blessed be.